The PlayStation 5 is backwards compatible with the PS4, but to what extent? Let's get into it. Hey guys, 3-Bit here. Welcome to the VGHD Talk, a longer talk series where I talk about modern topics. So let's talk about an article that came out from Eurogamer, reported by Matt Wales, where the title reads, Sony has no interest in making its PS5 games compatible with the PS4. The top bit of the article reads from a Sony head that the PS5 will not be making the console compatible with the PS4. So it's a bit misleading because the article means after a certain date. Developers have to stop developing for the PS4 and start developing for the PS5 is essentially what it says. This article just keeps reminding me how bad Sony is at marketing right now. People think that silence is a strategy for hype, and maybe a mix of it is, but the short bits of information, just think about the short bits of information that has come out from the PS5, and they have to reiterating what they mean. Sony first announced that the first 100 games will be available. Then they were like, no, actually it's more than that. There are new people in charge at Sony, I get that, but Sony has a history of complacency, and the Sony fans make it way worse. The most common reply I see on Twitter, on articles, and even on videos is backwards compatibility doesn't matter anyways. I'm looking towards the future, and the reason why I bought the PS5 is for PS5 games. Sure, okay, there is a hint of truth to that. I agree with that to an extent. What about the people that do care about backwards compatibility? If you go to multiple polls from big gaming websites, they list multiple times that backwards compatibility is the feature they are looking forward to the most. And let me break down that whole argument and why it's just stupid. First off, you guys are praising Sony for doing less. That's the first thing. If you are the market leader in sales, then if you want to keep that and support the people on your platform, be the market leader for the features that people care about. There is no innovation in complacency. It took Sony years to even do backwards compatibility, and it was a poor effort. You have modders figuring out how to make PS3 games that work on the PS4, but you can't get a $1 billion company, Sony, to do it properly because, like he said, it's not in their interest. But he meant it in a different way. I get that. You have to watch for words like that, especially from the CEO, because if anyone is going to know where the company is headed, it's not us, it's him. You know, and to break down the whole thing of just looking toward the future and only caring about future titles, I get that argument, okay? But it ignores a whole section of people, and that's my problem with it. There are PC gamers that are playing games from 10 years ago with $1,000 gaming rigs that are arguably more powerful than your new console, the PS5. So why do you think that is? It's because old games still have value and will continue to have value. PC gamers don't have to worry about backwards compatibility because the PC itself is backwards compatible with PC games. Creating an encompassing ecosystem is incredibly important. To say it doesn't matter puts Sony in a position where it won't matter, because look, these gamers are saying, hey, we don't have to do full backwards compatibility for the PS4 because gamers say they don't need it. And based on Sony's history of not willing to do things unless pushed, they will do it. Sony fans are using this argument that they don't need backwards compatibility because of the fact that Microsoft is doing the opposite. That's what it seems like anyways. And the mixed messaging that Sony is giving out in these articles do not help. Okay, you want to play with your friends on the Xbox One and you have the Series X, not only can you do that, but we can also do that with the huge library of different generations of games that I have. You have the benefit of not restarting over. Don't praise billion-dollar companies for doing less, ever. Doesn't matter what company it is. Microsoft had terrible messaging with the Xbox One. They turned it around because of Sony and now are offering arguably the best gaming service on the market with their Game Pass, getting 100+ games for like $1. It's ridiculous. Competition is amazing. Competition brings innovation, and I guarantee you it was because of Sony that Xbox is an amazing console right now. Not only with its deals is Xbox doing amazing, but it's doing amazing with its deals, its game and performance, and future games to come. The games that, some of the games that are announced, I'm looking really forward to. okay? And I'm also looking forward to what Sony will show in the next coming days. So people need to let Sony know that this feature is important to them and not downplay it because you're ashamed or scared of losing an argument in console wars. Okay, so imagine a world on the PS5 right now with no backwards compatibility. When consoles first release, you have to rely on that first party because hey, you're buying PlayStation for their exclusives, right? Considering Sony makes these story-based games where you beat it in like 8 hours or more, you're going to have to play that and maybe 2 other titles. Let's say, because remember, no backwards compatibility in this scenario. Do you guys remember how the PS4 launched? They launched with Killzone and Knack, and if I had to play both of those games and I was stuck with those games, I would go crazy. I'd go back to the PS3 where at least they had a whole library of titles. Same thing with Xbox One, right? Sure, the graphics were better on the PS4, but it's always good to have a variety of titles. So let's not forget that Sony has a history of promoting games that are years from actually coming out. And I hope they don't do that with this upcoming event. No one's going to want to turn on their PS4 to play those games and then have to jump back to the PS5 to play games from the past, right? That's just inconvenient. At that point, just add that backwards compatibility. And this is supposed to be an evolution of tech with not just putting graphics but features. The article says it doesn't want to abandon their ecosystem, but if you're not putting importance in your backwards compatibility, then you are. Point blank. That is the best way to support the previous generation of a console. It's the best way to promote your ecosystem. This backwards compatibility. That's where your games are. That's where your people are. So Sony needs to fix their bad marketing and have a strong message for their games because it's not their tech. It's not their SSD. The SSD doesn't make the console more powerful than the Series X. They can't even market that. And to be honest, 80% of titles won't be able to even utilize the SSD to its full potential. Now, hear me out. If you know how the system architecture works, then you'll know that if you want to utilize this SSD tech that they keep touting, you will have to build your game from the ground up to use that SSD the way it was intended. So that is out the window for third-party games. You think Madden, Assassin's Creed, FIFA, or Call of Duty are going to restart the development of their games to utilize their game for one console? No. Okay, and a mass majority of PS4 gamers are casual gamers. It's not first party. And not to mention, if your argument is looking toward the future, so you don't need backwards compatibility, then at least it has the graphics, right? But if we're looking for innovation in graphics, if it's not the features, because hey, backwards compatibility doesn't matter, then where is that? Because the PS5 has such a low count for its CPU that I could see games doing ray tracing for the Series X and not the PS5, because you need a high CPU count for ray tracing. So the best thing Sony has is its massive audience and the game studios. Sony has the best studios in the world. They honestly just need to do a lot better on the marketing. It's not the tech. It may be not.
Tyler, can you fucking say a fucking coherent sentence, please? They don't understand what the fuck you're saying. Just talk. Okay, I'll start. No, you gotta fucking talk right, bitch. Fine, I'll talk right. You're gonna fucking talk properly. This is your last fucking warning, Tyler. You hear me? Yes, sir. What the fuck? I said you aren't physically opposed. Listen, if you can't fucking talk properly, you better shut your fucking mouth before
the backwards compatibility, so it needs to be the games, and I'm sure they have amazing games coming up, because being silent and then flopping every time you release information for the PS5 and having to re-explain yourself like, oh, actually I meant this, is disappointing to me. The marketing right now needs to just be the games, which it will be, I'm sure, because everything else I'm finding out about the PS5, I'm getting disappointed. I don't know about you guys, but as a gamer, I'm excited to see their showcase. I need to see God of War 2. I loved God of War, and just know criticizing is how companies get better. People take it to heart. They're just like, oh, I have Sony t-shirts. People need to know that criticizing makes a company better. You know, I want competition. Competition is, again, great. It's the reason why Microsoft is in the position that they're in, because of Sony. All right, but people also need to know about backwards compatibility, that old games are not invalid because you have new tech. It does not work that way because you want it to. that is proven not only on the PC but also the Series X, and we'll see with the numbers. Alright, we will see. But to me, that stuff is important. I hate complications with, oh, I bought it on this but I can't play it on that. I hate that. Okay. Anyways, so if you like this video or not, let us know in the comments section down below. Don't forget to subscribe for more content from the Video Games HD. I'm 3-Bit signing off. Have a good one.